Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to start the medicinal chemistry 4th semester question and answers as per RGUHS question bank. So in the previous videos I have given you the long essay for unit 2nd of medicinal chemistry. Tomorrow I'm going to start with a short essay that is 5 marks of the medicinal chemistry 2nd unit. So we will start from the first question, that is write the structure, mechanism of action of oxymetazoline and clonidine with the uses. So the oxymetazoline structure, then mechanism of action for oxymetazoline. So the mechanism of action of oxymetazoline is direct stimulation for alpha receptors on the blood vessels, as well as supplying the nasal mucosa and the conjugativa to reduce the blood flow and decreases the conjugation, where oxymetazoline is absorbed in the systemic circulation, which regardless of the route of administration and may be produce the nervousness, headache and trouble in sleeping, so that is insomnia. And when administered in the nose, burning of the nasal mucosa and sneezing may occur. So even rebound of congestion is observed with the long term use. And the uses for oxymetazoline, they are used in the direct acting sympathomatic drug, and oxymetazoline is used as topically as a nasal decongestant, and it is also used in the sinus trouble. And number second, that is clonidine. So the structure for the clonidine and the mechanism of action for the clonidine. So clonidine treats high blood pressure by stimulating alpha 2 receptor in the brain, thus inhibiting the release of non-epinephrine. So then decreases the peripheral vascular resistance. It will become a vasodilation then, and pressure will be decreased. So it has specifically towards the presynaptic, that is alpha 2 receptors in the vasomotor center and in the brain system. And the structure uses for clonidine is, it is a selective alpha 2 adrenergic receptor, and it is also used in the hypertensive agents. Question number 2, write a note on alpha adrenergic antagonist and the structure and uses of any one. So alpha adrenergic antagonist is also known as alpha blocker or alpha adrenoreceptor antagonist. So these are a class of pharmacological agents that act as an antagonist on alpha adrenergic receptor, where historically alpha blockers were used as a tool for pharmacologic research to develop a greater understanding of all the autonomic nervous system. So using alpha blockers, the scientists began the characterizing arterial blood pressures and the central vasomotor control in autonomic nervous system, where today they can be used as a clinical treatments for a limited number of diseases. So the alpha blockers can treat a small range of diseases such as hypertension, Raynaud's disease, benign prostate hyperplasia, and erectile dysfunction, where generally speaking these treatments functions by binding an alpha blocker to a receptor in the arteries and the smooth muscles. So ultimately, depending upon the alpha receptor, this relaxes the smooth muscle or the blood vessels, which increases the fluid flow in this entity. So the mechanism of action, they inhibit or prevent the response of the effector cell to the both semi sympathetic nerve acting and sympathomatic by antagonizing or blocking their action at adrenergic receptor. So the adrenergic blockers primarily act as antagonizing the action of circulating epinephrine and non-epinephrine more readily. So rather than blocking their effects of sympathetic nerve stimulation, where the structure for the phenoxybenzamide and the uses, it is a non-selective alpha antagonist, and these are used to treat the peripheral vascular diseases, and it is also used to treat an hypertension. So this is a hypertensive drug agent. And we'll go to the next question, that is question number 3. Discuss on different beta receptor antagonists and write the limitations of non-selective beta blocker. So the beta receptor antagonists are a family of agents that are widely used in the treatment of hypertension, angina pectoris, and cardiac arrhythmatics, means irregular cardiac rhythm. So the beta blockers are also used for migraine prophylaxis, to treat anxiety, and to prevent the essential tremor, to block the side effects of the hyperthyroidism. So these agents completely block the effect of endogenous and also exogenous catecholamines. So these drugs shows the heart rate and decreases the force of contraction. They also block the sympathetic stimulation of the kidney renin release, and it is used in the treatment of hypertension, coronary artery disease, arthritis, and open angle glaucoma. So the cardioselective beta blockers preferably target the beta 1 receptors, thus minimizing some of the adverse effect for the non-selective beta blockers, where metoprolol, atenolol, and isomolol are the cardioselective drugs, where isomolol has very short life and is only used in the IV intravenous during the surgery. So these beta blockers may be used with caution in the asthma and as well as COPD. And the classification, aryl ethanol amines, in that example dichloroisoprotanol and prothalol are the examples, and aryl oxypropanol amines, where the examples are propanolol, nadolol, protalol, and metoprolol, where the beta blockers can be classified as non-selective beta blocker, selective beta blocker, and beta blockers with alpha receptor antagonist activity. In that, the example for non-selective beta blockers are propanolol and 4-hydroxypropanolol, where selective beta blocker metoprolol and atenolol, where the beta blocker with alpha receptor antagonist activity labetalol and cardivolol, where the limitations for the beta blocker are depression, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, insomnia, itching, cramping, and shortness of breath. So question number 4, explain the mechanism of action and uses of isomolol, xylometazoline, prazosin, and pseudoephedrine, where the structure for the isomolol and the mechanism of action for the isomolol are, it binds covalently to the alpha adrenoreceptors, that is alpha 1, which is greater than alpha 2. So it inhibits the reuptake of released non-epinephrine by presynaptic adrenergic terminals, and it also blocks the histamine, that is H1 acetylcholine and serotonin receptors. And the uses for esmolol, they are used to control the rapid heartbeats or abnormal heart rhythm. So it is also used as a short acting beta blocker to control the tachycardia during surgery. And number B, that is xylometazoline, where the structure and mechanism of action, a sympathomatic that directly acts on the alpha adrenergic receptor in the arterioles of the nasal mucosa to produce a vasoconstriction resulting decreased in the blood flow. And the uses for the xylometazoline are, it is used to decrease the nasal congestion, and it is also used as a vasoconstrictor, and it is used in the preparation in the treatment of sympathomatic decongestants. Where number C, prazosin, the mechanism of action, they inhibit or they prevent the response of effector cells, so the both sympathetic nerve and then sympathomimetic by antagonizing or the blocking their blockers, where the antagonizing action of circulating epinephrine or non-epinephrine were more readily rather than the blocking their effects or a sympathetic nerve stimulation. And uses treatment, it is used in the treatment of hypertension, it is used as a benign prostate hyperplasia, and it is also used in the treatment of Raynaud's disease. And D, that is pseudoephedrine, and the structure for mechanism of action for the pseudoephedrine, so these act by releasing the endogenous non-epinephrine, so they enter the nerve ending by the way and of active uptake process and displace non-epinephrine from its strong granules. So the uses for the pseudoephedrine are, the pseudoephedrine is used in the treatment of bronchodilator, and it is used in the treatment for the cardiac stimulant, and also it is used in the treatment of nasal decongestant. And coming to the next question, that is question number 5, explain the mechanism of action and the uses of terbutaline, ephedrine, methylcyanide and atenolol. So terbutaline structure, mechanism of action for terbutaline, the sympathomimetic action inhibits the uterine contraction by a smooth muscle relaxation and were used in the preterm of labor with varying the success. Stimulate the adenylate cyclase, which increases the CAMP, resulting in the powerful bronchodilator response, and as well as relaxation of bronchial tree and peripheral vascular with minimal cardiac effects. So the uses for, it is used as a bronchodilator, it is used to prevent and treat the wheezing, shortness of breath and chest tightness which is caused by asthma, and it is used to treat the emphysema. It is used as a class of beta agonist. And number B, the structure for mechanism of action for ephedrine, so the mechanism of action which stimulates both alpha and beta receptors, causing increased heart rate, enhanced cardiac output and increased the blood pressure, where rises the systolic and diastolic blood pressure by vasoconstriction and cardiac stimulation, and also the bronchodilation, but is less effective than epinephrine. And the uses, it is used as a bronchodilator, it is used in the treatment of low blood problems, and it is also used in the treatment of myasthenia gravis. Number C, methylcyanide, where the mechanism of action, So these drugs are a serotonin antagonist which act on the central nervous system, which directly stimulates the smooth muscles, which leads to the constriction, vasoconstriction. So some of the alpha adrenergic blocking activity has been reported. The investigators as to the mechanism whereby methylcernide produces its clinical effects, but this has not been finally established, although it may be related to the anti-serotonin effect, and the uses are it is used as a prophylaxis for migraine, and it is used in the treatment of carcinoid syndrome. It is used to treat for post gastronomy dumping syndrome, and it is used in the treatment of severe headache, where D, that is atenolol, and the mechanism of action for atenolol. So the atenolol is a beta adrenergic blocking agent that blocks the effect of the adrenergic chemicals. One of the important function for beta adrenergic nerve is to stimulate the heart muscle to beat more rapidly by blocking the stimulation. So these nerves, atenolol reduces the heart rate and is useful in treating abnormally rapid heart rhythm. So atenolol also reduces the force of contraction of the heart rate muscles and lowers the blood pressure. And the uses for the atenolol are these are used in the treatment of angina pectoris and hypertension as well as myocardial infarction. So question number 6, what are indirect acting sympathomatic agents? Write the structure and uses of any one drug. So the indirect acting sympathomatic agents is the substance that enhances the release or the action of endogenous neurotransmitter, but also has no specific agonist activity at the neurotransmitter receptor itself. So this is a non-catecholamine. So most of these drugs retain phenylethylamine, where the indirect acting sympathomimetics can have one of the two different mechanisms. So they may enter the sympathetic nerve ending and displaced stored catecholamines transmitters. Such drugs have been called as amphetamine like or displacer. And it also may inhibit the reuptake and released transmitter by interfering with the action of norepinephrine transporter. So the structure for hydroxyamphetamine. And the uses for the hydroxyamphetamine, it is used in the hyperkinetic syndrome in the children, and this is also used in the treatment of obesity and in the treatment of nasal decongestant and as a vasoconstrictor, also as well as bronchodilator, and these are also used in the treatment of cardiac stimulant. So here we have completed the 5 marks of medicinal chemistry 4th semester 2nd unit. Tomorrow I am going to give the 2 marks for medicinal chemistry. So on that time it will finish the 2nd unit, and then we will start the 3rd unit for medicinal chemistry 4th semester. So please do like, share and subscribe to my channel.